Oh, this is going to be fun. I can already hear the clicking of the PC master race and the console warriors typing away at their keyboards to defend their platform of choice. But I really suggest that you hold on to whatever it is you're going to say until the end of the video before you post your comment, because you have no idea where this video is going to go. Let's take a little look at history. PC gaming didn't see a jump until 1982 when they started porting over successful arcade games. Then the video game crash happened in North America. While consoles were seen as a fad, PC gaming saw a boom because of the Commodore 64. Then the console market got its second wind with the Nintendo Entertainment System. After that, the console market dominated for several years, to the point where it was hurting the PC market, which is why Microsoft made the Xbox. Then Steam came into the mix, allowing PC games to be distributed digitally, making them easily accessible and rejuvenating the PC gaming market. There's a whole bunch more missing from that story, but it's a very, very abridged version of what led up to this point in time. At time of writing, of course. So which is better, PC or console? Some may just say one or the other and then be done with it, but there's a list of pros and cons that go with them. First, we'll take a look at the pros and cons of consoles, then PCs. And just to be clear, I play on both PC and console pretty equally, leaning more towards consoles. Also, I'm not a super tech guy either. I can build a PC as I took electronics in high school, which was a trade school. But I'm not in there with a voltmeter checking everything, nor am I looking at code all the time. Any information I say here is from research that I've done on the subject. So if I say anything that's wrong, I guess the source where I got it from is wrong. So let's get started, shall we? The pros to consoles are, 1, they're cheaper, and gaming is a very expensive hobby with games costing $60 and up, even digitally, and I'll be talking about this in a bit. 2, consoles are easier to set up. You pull them out of the box, plug them into your TV, and after the initial setup, you're good to go. Pop in the disc and play. 3, consoles are made by Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. All three have their own games exclusive to their consoles. Sony has Uncharted, Ratchet, Sly, Resistance, God of War, and many more. We all know that Nintendo has Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Star Fox, Donkey Kong, Fire Emblem, and many, many more. Microsoft has Halo and a bunch of Rare properties that almost never see the light of day. Rare Replay doesn't count, it's just a reminder of how good Rare used to be. Number 4, there's more quality control. Yeah, there's garbage on those systems, but nowhere near the amount that's on Steam thanks to Greenlight. And hold any comment you have about this one because I'll be discussing it shortly. Number 5, consoles are specifically designed to play games, so hardware is built around the aspect. Games on consoles don't have optimization issues like you run into on PCs, as it's easier to make a game on fixed hardware like consoles. 6, they're easier to transport. Going over to a friend's house, you're only lugging over a few pounds. Number 7, games bought physically are able to be lent to friends much easier or traded into game stores for store credit to buy new games, or games can be bought used for a cheaper price. Number 8, consoles are backed by their manufacturer, meaning that they'll take care of all the troubleshooting if you're having an issue. However, there are cons to this. 1, the hardware needs to be designed to last a certain number of years, meaning that it's rather outdated. The PS4 and Xbox One are pretty much gaming computers from 2012. 2, you need to pay a subscription service to play online multiplayer. Nintendo is the exception though. And while these services add value, like giving you free games every month, if you decide to stop paying that fee, you cannot play those games until you re-up your subscription. Number 3, with the advent of 4K resolution, these new consoles are way behind on that, from what I've read. Number 4, modding games is a pain if not downright impossible. Sometimes the console needs modified hardware to run a modified game. 5, if it breaks, you either buy a new one or ship it off to the manufacturer to get fixed. I had to do this with my PlayStation 4 as the disc drive was faulty and there was a screw rattling around inside, and my 3DS when a recent update bricked it. And finally 6, because of the fixed hardware, you're only going to get so much from it. So those are the pros and cons of console gaming. So now we're going to go into the pros and cons of PC gaming, starting with the first pro. Hardware is definitely better and is customizable to the user's liking. 4K resolution is easily achievable, 60 frames per second is easily achievable, a wide variety of hardware to choose what you want, and you can choose how it looks when buying a case or cooling fans. Number 2, most multiplayer games do not require a subscription. However, some MMOs like World of Warcraft do need one, however. Number 3, there's mods galore, which can change the look of the game or the overall gameplay of it, and they're pretty easy to install. Number 4, there are PC-only games, like the first Witcher, and PC does have the most exclusives. And some games are better suited to PC, like real-time strategy or first-person shooters. Number 5. Steam sales and Humble Bundle happen often, although the quality of these sales has been declining. Most of the games on sale are either garbage and require digging to find the good ones, but again, a little bit more on this in a bit. Number 6. It's easy to adjust the graphics settings on games to run on your hardware's configuration. Like if you lower the settings, you could get higher frame rates. Number 7. You can walk on the dark side and torrent all the games, eliminating the need to pay for a game if you pirate it. Number 8. There's lots of legit methods to getting games cheap and easy like Steam or Good Old Games. Number 9. It's still a PC, meaning you have a machine that can do a lot more than play games. Number 10. The PC community is often very helpful at solving issues. Number 11. Better online services. Steam, Origin, Good Old Games have faster download speeds than PSN, Xbox, or the Nintendo Network. On average, it takes me several hours, around 6 hours, to download a game that's about 6 gigabytes in size. However, on Steam, I can download a 10 gigabyte game in about 20 minutes. Number 12. Emulation is an easy way to play older console games that aren't available on newer machines. And finally, the last pro, number 13, you can build a PC that's on par with a PS4 or Xbox One for about the same price as those systems. However, there is a but to this, and that's coming soon. However, the cons of PC gaming is, 1, it's more money. Okay hardware is affordable, decent is pricey, good is up there, excellent is expensive, and obscenely powerful is a small fortune. And while not necessary, keeping hardware updated is a continual cost, but it's cheaper in the long run depending on what you buy. 2. PCs are harder to carry around. Moving a desktop to the living room to play comfortably can be a hassle, although this is dependent on size and weight. Gaming laptops, while easier to lug around, are not as upgradable and more expensive. Number 3. It does require more planning and research to build or buy pre-built. With so many options to choose from, it requires more time in considering what is good for you. Do you go Intel or AMD processor? Do you choose Nvidia or AMD for your graphics card? And you need to make sure that the hardware you want is compatible with each other. You don't want to put an Intel CPU into a motherboard designed for AMD's or put a CPU into a motherboard that it can't handle. Also, you need to make sure that you have a power supply that can handle all the hardware. And if you're buying pre-built, are you paying for a good machine or are you just paying for the name? Number 4. It does require some knowledge of building computers if you want to save money, as buying a pre-built to your liking is more expensive than building it yourself, and certain brands are more expensive than others, like Alienware. You're mostly paying for the name with that one. Number 5. PC games cannot be traded in. You buy it, you're stuck with it. Steam refunds do alleviate this if you haven't played it for more than 2 hours or had it for more than 2 weeks. But if there's a game that you liked and want to trade in because you no longer want to play it ever, you can't. And sharing Steam games can be a bit of a hassle. Number 6. There's no quality control at all. Steam has become an absolute cesspool of terrible games made by snake oil salesman developers, thanks to Greenlight opening the floodgates of bad games. Steam's refund policy was put in place exactly for this reason, and all the junk indie games tend to bury the good indie games, and this is why the curator feature was put in place too. Steam sales and Humble Bundles used to have really good stuff, but nowadays it's just like they're clearing out their junk drawer. Number 7. DRM is problematic. Due to piracy being easy on PC, developers try to use DRM to make games not work if not bought legitimately. Certain types of DRM have been known to cause problems and even ruin PCs. Like de novo, DRM has been accused of shortening the lifespan of solid-state drives. Number 8, there's viruses, malware, and spyware, so you gotta keep that antivirus updated. Number 9, ports of console games can be very bad. Arkham Knight, anyone? Number 10, there are optimization problems due to the ability to cherry pick your parts, or the developer chooses a certain brand over another, or it's just their incompetence. Like Tomb Raider 2013 ran better on AMD cards than Nvidia due to the developers choosing the special hair features AMD offered at the time. Another example is that Crysis ran very well on my old Asus gaming laptop. I could run it on the highest settings at 60 frames per second. However, the game crashed frequently, but I think this was more on the developer's fault than my hardware. 11. Any problems you'll need to fix yourself, unless you bought it pre-built from a manufacturer like Alienware. And even then, you're still pretty much on your own as Dell's customer service sucks. At least from my experience. As a Dell laptop I had a long time ago got bricked due to Dell's own backup software and they wanted me to purchase a software warranty. And finally, number 12, the last con of PC gaming is that there's the overall maintenance of a PC, like opening it up to clear out dust. However, this does not void your warranty like it would a console. Some people may look at this list and think, well, console is the winner. The list I put together has more pros than they do cons for consoles. Well, No. And from a purely objective standpoint, PC is very clearly the winner. It hits more checks than consoles do or ever will because the hardware is much more superior and flexible, and it allows for mods to the game files to provide reskinning or adding in features that you never knew you wanted. Even a PC that has $380 worth of parts can easily compete with a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Now hold on, PC Master Race, that's not entirely a victory for you. I said $380 in parts. Let's not forget operating system, and right now it's about $100 to $140 for a new Windows 10 license, but prices vary depending on source, so that $380 console killer is now around $500 because if you want to make sure you can play everything you want, you're going to need Windows, as not every game is compatible with Linux-based operating systems. But also, if you need a monitor, you'll need about another $100. Then a mouse and keyboard, which can be about $30 for both, and speakers may be an additional $30, but it's dependent on what you buy, and I'm just giving averages. So now we're looking at about $660 for that gaming PC. So saying that building a gaming PC is cheaper than buying a console should start with the phrase once upon a time, because when you look at the parts for the PC itself, yes, the parts can be cheaper, but then there's the added stuff on top of it, like peripherals that raise the cost if you don't already have them. And in an age where things are becoming more portable friendly, chances are someone building or buying a gaming PC for the very first time may not have those peripherals. I know I didn't. I had a gaming laptop before switching to a desktop, so I needed to buy a monitor. So the cost of admission to PC gaming is higher than a console, but the games can be cheaper. I have almost never bought a game at full price on Steam. Steam does discount games, and they do have sales like the summer and holiday ones, and some games have a special pre-order price that knocks off about $5 to $10. But not all games are cheaper. Some are still $60, the same price as a physical copy. But also, like I said earlier, Steam has become a cesspool for garbage thanks to Greenlight. The Steam sales have gotten worse as time has gone on and require extensive digging to find the good stuff on sale. Humble Bundle rarely gives any good games anymore. Most of the time they're Steam ports of mobile games. But then there is Origin and other services that provide games like Good Old Games, which I prefer now since the quality is much higher and the sales have been getting better. And Origin does a free game on the house once in a while, and even though it may not be a AAA title, it's not something like the Slaughtering Grounds. But that's not to say that Sony doesn't have some good flash sales too, although they've been rather hit and miss lately, and they do discount games about as often as some PC services. Xbox still lags behind on the idea of flash sales, and I don't think I've ever seen a game on sale on Nintendo's platforms. While PC does have superior hardware and better services than consoles, when it comes to games, it's not even comparing apples to oranges, but more like comparing an apple to a pear. An apple and a pear are both palm fruits in the same family, but just have different tastes and textures. If you're playing a multi-platform game, you're still getting the same experience regardless of platform. If you're playing BioShock Infinite, you're still playing with the same weapons, same vigors, and going through the same areas and experiencing the same first-person shooter and the same story. Sure, it may look better, it'll load faster, and may perform better, but for every game that's better on PC, there's one that performs better on console, like Batman Arkham Knight, which at time of writing they're still working on. So on a technical aspect, PC wins. It just hits more check marks when it comes to performance due to the hardware that's available, and there's more pros to it than consoles. The way I see PCs, they're a high-risk, high-reward type of platform, kinda like a high-performance motorcycle, and consoles are like a tricycle, not bad but safe and reliable, and pretty user-friendly. But it's up to you to choose which one you think is for you. And when it comes to the games that are exclusive to PC and console, and even games on all platforms, well, that may be a rant for another day, because that's really where the true battlefield is.